chamber to the people. Let the voices ring. Laws are made. Debates take the wing.
I know we are going to be reposed with responsibilities.
Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Watch the Senate and the House of Representatives, where decisions flow. The Parliament, the place to know. The Parliament, see power at play. The Parliament, your window into democracy at work, only on Global Television. Hello and welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament, which deliberates on legislative policies from the chambers of the National Assembly to the voices shaping Nigeria's democratic journey. Welcome once again. I am Aniti Patrick. It's good to have you join us this week. Each week we bring you the latest decisions, debates, and developments from the heart of the legislature, the bills shaping national policy, the motions addressing citizens' concerns, and the oversight actions holding the government accountable. On this episode, the House of Representatives has passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill to allow for electronic transmission of election results. But the emergency plenary for which the House reconvened to rescind its earlier decision for only electronic transmission descended into chaos as aggrieved members staged a walkout. In the past few weeks, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill has been in the news, forcing the two chambers of the National Assembly into emergency sittings. As the House reconvened, the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, appreciated members' sacrifice.
It's very important that we sacrifice this morning to come and attend to those important issues. The issues that will define the elections of 2027 and give clear vision as to what is expected to be done.
But as the motion for the rescission was moved and seconded, the House descended into chaos as some lawmakers kicked. This forced the Speaker to call for a closed-door session. After about 2 hours behind closed doors, aggrieved members insisted on clause-by-clause consideration of the 156 clauses of the bill, leading to another rowdy session. Some of the members moved to amend the latest amendments into the bill, but their motions were negatived by the majority.
Order 906 says, it shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session, except upon a substantive motion for decision.
Now that we have passed the electronic transmission and we have accepted it, this is the most important referee in this election, because you are expected to transmit the results from the polling units.
We have forgotten that what Nigerians are asking for and what is important is legality of a transmitted result, whether fully transmitted or partially transmitted, or whether the transmission fails.
Not satisfied with the outcome of their motions, the aggrieved lawmakers from the opposition staged a walkout, but that action did not stop the consideration of the bill.
Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 4.
Moments later, the opposition caucus reconvened at the National Assembly Media Center, where they addressed journalists, describing the development as a setback to electoral reform.
we have asked that that clause should remain solely for electronic transmission without any provision. Aside that, we have also proposed that where there is a conflict between from EC8A, which is manual and capable of being manipulated, and the electronically transmitted result, that the electronically transmitted result should take precedence.
Meanwhile, the spokesman of the House, Akin Rotimi Jr., addressed the media on the amendment and need for proper understanding of Nigerians in delivering the dividends of democracy.
We will have left the work to just the harmonization committee if there were not other amendments that we sought to make, which required for us to rescind, the passage of the bill which was passed in December. We had to rescind that and take new consideration.
In the same vein, the Senate has passed the Electoral Act 2022, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2026 following intense deliberations and a contentious division over Clause 60 concerning electronic transmission of election results. Proceedings began with a demand for division raised by Senator Eyinaya Abaribe. Senate President Godswill Akpabio
demanded a division on Clause 60, sparking intense debates among lawmakers. Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibri, argued that revisiting already settled provision would be out of order. But Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele clarified that his motion for rescission gave room for a proper review.
And I'll rule. Order 72. 1. Any senator may challenge the opinion of the president by claiming a division. I, on our behalf, sponsored this motion for rescission. The essence of a motion for rescission is that whatever was passed in the past remain in the past.
In the division, 55 senators voted to retain the clause as the original drafted, while 15 opposed. Following the vote, the Senate rescinded the earlier passage and referred the bill to the Committee of the Whole for detailed reconsideration before final enactment.
A bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 13 of 2022 and enact the Electoral Bill 2026 to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area councils elections in the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters 2026, third reading taken.
Also, the Nigerian Senate has directed the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to assess the extent of damage at Singa Market in Kano State and provide relief materials as well as financial support to affected traders. The incident was said to have destroyed goods that are worth over 20 billion naira and crippled over 1,000 businesses, mostly small and medium enterprises.
Speaking on the matter through a motion, the Deputy President of the Senate, Jibril Barau, described the incident as alarming, which, according to him, has left 7 people missing and plunged traders and their families into distress amid economic hardship. He noted that preliminary reports blamed the extent of the damage on faulty firefighting infrastructure, poor emergency response, and absence of modern safety system.
The Senate knows that the historic Singa Market, located in Kano, which is one of the largest commercial hubs in northern Nigeria, recently suffered a devastating fire outbreak of alarming magnitude. Also knows that the inferno reportedly destroyed goods and property valued over 20 billion naira. Over 20 billion naira. Affecting more than 1,000 businesses, predominantly small and medium-scale enterprises that serve as a backbone of the local economy. Further notes, a valid report about 7 persons have been declared missing as a result of the incident. with many traders and their families thrown into distress, uncertainty, and economic hardships.
Supporting the motion, lawmakers highlighted the importance of markets for regional commerce, employment and border economic activities, noting that the extent of the damage coupled with lack of insurance support could increase unemployment, social instability, among others.
That market, single market, is not the market of Kano, Northwest or Northern Nigeria. It is an international market which our surrounding countries, more especially Niger, Chad, Cameroon, up to Central Africa, depend on that market on the provision of essential commodity. Mr. President, the situation is very facetic. And of course, we commended the Mr. President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Army Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who constituted a delegation under the chairmanship of our Vice President, Alhaji Senator Kashim Shettima, with the Speaker, House of Representatives, DSP, and of course myself, Minister of Humanitarian, one member from the House, Honorable Bichi.
An international commercial hub, not even a national one. And the loss of that market is a very big economic blow to Kano and Nigerians. I want to lend my voice to support that motion, that everything that needs to be done should be done. Thank you, my distinguished colleagues.
In response, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, commiserates with the victims of the unfortunate incident. He therefore called for urgent steps to prevent a repeat of the incident in the state and other parts of the country.
Urge the federal government through the National Emergency Management Agency to urgently assess the extent of damage and provide immediate relief materials and financial assistance to affected traders, as well as intensify search and rescue operations in collaboration with security agencies for the recovery of those missing. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Urge the Federal Fire Service to carry out a comprehensive audit of fire safety compliance and preparedness in major markets across the Federation. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Call on the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to collaborate with the Kano State Government to design a special intervention fund or soft loan scheme to support victims in rebuilding their businesses. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his intervention for the release of 3 billion naira for the victims of the unfortunate incident.
The Joint Committee of the Senate and the House of Representatives on Army has resolved to increase the proposed 2026 budget of the Nigerian Army to address the nation's security situation following the declaration of a state of emergency by President Bola Tinubu months ago. The resolution was reached during the 2026 budget defense session with the Nigerian Army, co-chaired by Senate Committee Chairman Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua and House Committee Chairman Aminu Balalele. Lawmakers observed that about 70% of the 2025 budget had been rolled over into the 2026 fiscal framework, raising concerns that the appropriation did not adequately capture the financial implications of the emergency declared by the president. The committee stressed the urgency of adjusting the budget through a supplementary appropriation to meet emerging security demands. The Joint Committee also resolved to invite the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning to appear before it to explain issues surrounding the release of funds to the Army, amid concerns that delayed releases were affecting operations, logistics, and infrastructure developments.
And this budget 2026, as far as we are concerned, does not reflect the state of emergency we are talking about. So the thinking of the Senate and the House of Reps is that there should be a supplementary to reflect the state of emergency that has been declared by Mr. President.
A strong collaboration with our counterparts in the Senate will keep our oversight and budgetary approaches responsive and forward-looking, so that the 2026 budget tangibly enhance the operational capacity of the Nigerian Army and assist in addressing some of our security challenges.
The Chief of Army Staff, who also attended the session in person, later presented detailed operational achievements during a closed-door meeting, with journalists asked to step out briefly due to the sensitivity of the discussions. The committee emphasized the need for sustained collaboration between the legislature and the military to enhance operational effectiveness and address the country's evolving security challenges. Nigeria's intelligence community is seeking a supplementary budget to strengthen its response to growing security threats across the country. This was at the 2026 Budget Defense session before the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, where it describes the 2026 allocation to the intelligence sector as grossly inadequate. Permanent Secretary, Special Services, Office of the National Security Advisor, Mohammed Sanusi, says increased funding has become imperative following President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency on national security. He outlined key priorities for 2026 to include combating terrorism, banditry and kidnapping, protecting critical infrastructure, strengthening cybersecurity, tackling the proliferation of small arms, and addressing transactional crimes within the West African corridor.
Mr. Chairman, we recommend that this distinguished committee, with the recent declaration of state of emergency by Mr. President on national security, it is our humble prayer that adequate funding shall be provided through a supplementary budget to the intelligence community to ensure timely and speedy response to issues of national security. We will all agree, Mr. Chair, that no nation can grow without adequate security.
Responding, Chairman House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Ahmad Satomi, explained that out of the 5.41 trillion naira proposed for defense and security in 2026, the intelligence community is allocated about 664 billion naira for personnel, overhead and capital expenditure. Satome expressed concern over what he termed resistance by some security agencies to legislative oversight, insisting that accountability does not amount to antagonism.
This committee is therefore making its passionate appeal to our dear President to please look into the funding of the agencies of intelligence sector and the security, not only prioritize them in budget, because no country has run security sector in budget provision annually. In 2024, this committee undertook a visit to the training schools of various departments and state services in Bauchi, Lagos, Enugu, and have scheduled to visit Kaduna and the remaining sites in Kogi, Cross River State. We also visited the training school of the NIA in Lagos. We are disheartened by the sorry state of facility in all schools, and all will be attributed to the lack of funding and proper provision in the budget estimates.
The committee, however, called for improved funding of intelligence training institutions, describing facilities visited in Bauchi, Lagos, and Enugu as inadequate for world-class security training. Nigeria's march towards a fully digital economy has received a boost as thousands of members of the House of Representatives undergo intensive digital literacy training in Abuja. The two-day workshop, organized in partnership with the National Information Technology Development Agency, is aimed at equipping participants with relevant technology skills to function effectively in a fast-evolving digital world. Declaring the program open, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, who represented the Speaker, described women as strong pillars of support in governance. He urged the participants to maximize the opportunity to strengthen their capacity and expand their contributions to national development.
You are very strategic in making sure that the voting on this bill goes towards the right or goes towards the left. You are the powerhouses that will shape how the voting on that day will go.
Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the initiative aligns with the federal government's digital transformation agenda. He noted that empowering women and technology-driven skills will further accelerate social-economic growth.
I therefore encourage you to approach this program not merely as a training session, but as a strategic empowerment platform, one that strengthens your institutional voice, sharpens your leadership capacity, and enhances your ability to contribute meaningfully.
Convener of the workshop and wife of the Speaker, Fatima Abbas, encouraged the spouses to embrace digital knowledge as a critical tool for leadership, advocacy, and community development.
The digital transformation of our nation must be inclusive. It must ensure that women in leadership spaces are confident participants in the digital economy. This collaboration demonstrates foresight and commitment.
Director General of NIDA, Kashifu Inua, revealed that the agency is working towards achieving 95% digital literacy nationwide by the year 2030, adding that the program is part of broader efforts to build a digitally inclusive Nigeria.
This workshop and training is designed to achieve three things: to train you on leadership, because we are in a digital era. We need digital-driven leaders.
The workshop continues with practical sessions on leadership, well-being, and digital opportunities as participants position themselves for greater impact in a technology-driven society. Nigerian women are making their voices heard at the National Assembly in Abuja, demanding urgent passage of the bill for reserved seats for women in the National Assembly. They say it's a vital step towards inclusive governance and gender equity.
Protesters, which include women with disabilities, stress that increasing women's representation in governance would strengthen inclusion, improve policy outcomes, and deepen democratic participation across the country. They argue that despite Nigeria's democratic gains, women remain underrepresented in elective offices, and the legislation is needed to correct the systematic imbalance.
Women are dying in the maternity death road. You have 14 houses of assembly that has doesn't even have a single woman. So who is deciding on issues of women? Women, you know, in terms of maternal death, we have where Nigeria is the last 5 in the world. As if we're at war. As if any woman who is pregnant today is on a maternity death road.
We are looking at an election cycle come 2027 where we will see women to be able to go to the polls and to be voted for. And so a word of caution is the timeliness. We are asking them to please look at the timelines, look at the urgency of the bill and the ability to pass this bill in enough time for women to participate, even at the primaries at the political party level. Because if we miss this chance, it means that women are going to tick forward the calendar and go into 2031, and that will be the next election cycle.
Speakers at the rally noted that the countries like Rwanda have recorded remarkable progress in women's preliminary representation through affirmative action policies, urging Nigeria to follow similar models. They also appealed to the leadership of the National Assembly of Nigeria to treat the bill as a matter of national urgency.
In every country there is a budget. So I believe the budget will be increased to accommodate more women in the National Assembly and the state houses of assembly.
To any lawmaker that has not changed their mind yet on the bill, I want you to listen to me. You're not doing it for just us. You're doing it for your wives, your mothers. You're doing it for the future of your unborn kids. You know, the posterity will look back at you. They would say, yes, the 10th House of Assembly left a legacy, and that's what we want for you. We want the best for you. Nigerian women make almost half of Nigeria's population. We are the ones that give you the vote. We are tired of dancing and singing at campaigns. We want to be part of decision making. If you reserve a...
Addressing the demonstrators on behalf of the leadership of the House of Representatives, spokesperson Honorable Akin Rotimi assured them that the National Assembly remains committed to constitutional reforms that promote inclusiveness. He disclosed that about 40 bills would soon be subjected to electronic voting as part of the ongoing amendments of 1999 Constitution. He urged groups to sustain engagement with lawmakers while assuring them that their demands were receiving attention.
I want you to know that we have heard you, we have listened to you, and this has been reflected in the constitutional amendment bills that are currently before the National Assembly. As it is, we have about 40 bills that are before the National Assembly in which we are going to be voting on very soon in the next few weeks.
As constitutional amendments gather momentum, the push for reserved seats for women is fast becoming the defining test of Nigeria's commitment to inclusive governance.
And that's where we call it a wrap on this edition of the program. See you on the next edition of the Parliament on Global Television. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. To stay connected, kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG. Thank you to my production team. See you on the next episode. I am Aniti Patrick. Thank you for watching.